10年早いんだよ。
Hey everyone, welcome to the episode. Today with me is EX Mosquito. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, alright mate? Yeah, thanks for having me. No worries.
So to begin with, I'd like to ask you about the arcade scene where you grew up.
Arcade scene. It was more of it wasn't so much of an arcade scene, it was more of a taxi rank, kebab shop, VHS store type of scene.
Okay.
Where I come from, I live near a seaside town, but the thing is, it's about 15 miles away, and when you're a kid, you know, it's not really practical. So pretty much, because I live near like the downtown, I suppose you would call it, like the city centre, there's a lot of arcade machines down there, but they were pretty much in like pool halls, you know, when you have like snooker and what have you, you've got like taxi ranks.
Bowling alleys, stuff like that?
Yeah, bowling alleys, kebab shops. I suppose you don't have those in America, but yeah, kebab shops, chip shops. But yeah, I pretty much had like access to say about in like the late 80s, early 90s, say about 40 cabs, you know, spread out within within a square mile. So if you added them all together, it would have been a good arcade, but
no formal arcade setting though.
Not really, no. It's more of just like a kebab shop and yeah, pretty much.
I understand what you're saying. I had that exact same thing. Growing up in my town, there weren't any... Well, there's one in the mall, but it was overpriced and mostly like ticket games and stuff. But how I mostly played arcade games in my town is stuff like pizza restaurants, bowling alleys. I'm trying to think. Sometimes even like at department stores.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. They'd have arcade machines.
It's hard to think going back, isn't it? Yeah, but...
Yeah.
It's weird back then, yeah, because there were a couple of arcades, but the thing is, they're all like 18 and over, because they're mainly like gambling machines, like fruit machines. Because when I started playing games, you know, arcade games, when they came into my like consciousness, I was a bit like 8, 9 years old, so I couldn't really pass for like an 18-year-old back then. So.
Oh, me neither.
I was restricted to the kebab shops and the pool halls, basically.
So at those shops, what were the machines that you normally came across?
Well, because I used to go into town with my mum. I call it town. It's like the city, basically, you know, downtown, I guess you'd call it. I'd go into town and we'd walk past a video shop, which was in the main town centre. And I remember walking past and hearing like Pac-Land, because that's really loud, isn't it? The sound effects on that. I remember hearing Pac-Land, sticking my head in, and I'm going, "Oh, come on, we gotta go, we gotta stop in here." And a year after that, say, I used to come home from school. I must have been about 9 years old now. And I put my roller skates on, and I used to roller skate into town, because it's only like a mile away. And I used to go there after school to play like Pac-Land and Shinobi and things like that. So it must have been like that era when I started going to arcades, you know, consistently. But before that, I used to go on like caravan holidays. And I used to play in the arcades then, because that's the first thing I used to do when I used to get, you know, when you go somewhere, you try and find the arcades, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, because every caravan park has got like a little arcade. So the first arcade machine I remember seeing from those days is probably a Missile Command, the first one. Because I was born in '78, so I'm quite old, I guess. But yeah, that's the first game I ever remember seeing. I don't know why, because that year I don't remember anything else. I got like an imprint of Missile Command at an airport, thinking, "All right, I'll log that."
Yeah.
Strange.
I'm trying to remember my first arcade game. I'm pretty sure Oh, okay. I remember. This is really odd, but the first arcade game I ever played was Versus Super Mario Bros.
Oh yeah, the arcade version. That's right, because that was half lost levels as well, wasn't it? Apparently, yeah, that's right. Because like super hard, like blocks are missing they're not where they normally are, aren't they? It's like a harder version.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was really cool. It was one of those tabletop arcade machines. I don't know if that's the exact
the
description of it, but you
cabinets.
You sit down and you look down into a table
That's
to play
right.
it.
Yeah, they were really common in the UK. They were.
Oh, were they? That's the only one I've ever seen before.
Is it? Yeah, apparently they're quite rare, like in Japan and America. But yeah, the UK they were like you should see them all the time. But yeah, that's neat. They're nice there, but it's not very good for like a extended play, is it? Because there's a weird angle. You're leaning over and.
The worst is when some kid comes down and puts his pizza on top of your machine. You're like middle of playing. Some kid comes over. It's like, dude, I'm in the middle of something.
I know that's
here.
the thing. The screen is like pretty much 80% of the table, isn't it? It's not as if you can put things on it while you're playing. It's like your beer, I guess. That's what it's meant for. Your beer, not a pizza. Oh.
Right.
2 seconds. Could you hear that? This ice cream van just going past. Sorry.
Hey, no worries. I can probably cut most of that out.
But yeah, that's good. They're nice. Those that might be a good way to get an arcade machine. It's like if you're married or something, or living with someone, getting a cab in the house. Just disguising it as like a coffee table.
That's a genius idea.
It isn't it? If you can find one, for cheap enough, put some nice sticks in it as well.
Yeah, because right now I have to throw all my big machinery, I guess, like my CRTs and all that, out in the shed. I can't have them in the house.
You got a CRT collection, have you?
Well, yeah, but they're not anything impressive. I have a giant Sony Trinitron.
Yeah.
And then I finally found a PVM at a thrift store.
That's odd, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's this big old Philips one. And then I have a 17-inch CRT computer monitor that I use with my computer.
Yeah, they're good for like Naomi stuff, aren't they?
Yeah.
If you think about it, like the mid and high res stuff.
Yeah, I think they look fantastic.
And there's no lag either, is there, on those?
Nope, none.
Which is a major issue with TVs these days, isn't it?
Huge, yeah. My main reason why I play on CRT.
Yeah, same here as well, actually.
So, getting back to the arcades, Missile Command was your first. What was the one that really grabbed you? And I guess made you feel like you had to go to the arcade, or you know what I mean?
The first one that infected me, basically.
Yes.
You say.
Exactly.
It's got to be Shinobi. I know it's not shmup related. We played that.
That's all
Shinobi.
right. Oh yeah, that's a fantastic game.
Yeah, 1987. Because
and it sounds like that's a game that just in these interviews I'm doing, a lot of shmup players identify Shinobi as one of those turning point games for them. Yes.
That's weird, isn't it? 'Cause it's got no shoot. Well, I suppose it's got shooting. You shoot missiles, you get a power up when you shoot missiles. So that's a bullet, sort of.
It's kind of a hardcore style arcade game, though.
Yeah, if you think about it, even though it hasn't got much in common, it's got those arcade sensibilities where it's punishing, one-hit death.
Yes.
You've got to be quite precise. If you get close, you use your sword. Too far away. Yeah, there's a lot of precision to it, isn't there? So I suppose it does lend itself to shmups in that way. And you've got to have a good game plan. You can't just dive in and just go crazy on it. You've got to be strategic, haven't you, to get to the end.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it does make sense in a way. But yeah, it must. I think that's my biggest one, and the first shoot 'em up, because that was pretty. Because this arcade, it had 4 machines in a row. I remember it had 1942, Pac-Land, which is what I used to hear. That's the reason I went in there, because I heard it through the door.
Yeah.
R-Type.
Oh, okay.
That was my real shmup game that I actually spent proper time with, and then Shinobi was on the end. So yeah, that's a pretty good arcade if you think about it. Those 4 games, they're pretty stone cold classics. Apart from 1942, I guess it gets a bit boring nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah.
1942. It's good.
I'd say so.
It's good. It's nice and precise, but it's not enough going on, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. Yeah, sometimes I have trouble returning to some of those older shmups that feels like there's not a lot going on.
It's a nice game, though. You can appreciate it for what it is, but nowadays you need a bit more to dodge, I guess, don't you?
More to shoot, more to dodge.
Oh, yeah, and shoot, yeah.
So, in that interview, in that podcast you were in, which I thought was really great, probably a lot more professional than what I can pull off, but you guys talked quite extensively about Street Fighter 2 and how that kind of really grabbed you. So I wanted to ask you, around what time did you start playing Street Fighter 2?
Oh, pretty much as soon as it came out, because I remember seeing it in a famous UK magazine called CMVG, Computer and Video Games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I remember seeing it in there. Pretty much, say like 2 weeks after, it was actually in a taxi rank in town. I suppose you'd call it like where you get cabs from.
Yeah.
Cab, taxi. Do you call them taxis?
Where I live,
Yeah,
they're very rare.
America, don't they?
Oh yeah, in the big cities, they're all over the place. I live out in a very rural, Wild West kind of area, so I mean, you're actually more likely to see a tractor than a taxi.
Oh, is it? All right.
Actually, just yesterday, I was driving downtown and got stuck behind a tractor. So.
Oh, really? Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. Oh, actually, it does, because I live in Wales, which is like, it's got lots of like fields and country lanes and what have you. So yeah, when I go to work, I drive down a country lane to work. So I do get stuck behind tractors as well.
Okay, so we got that in common.
Yeah. But yeah, Street Fighter 2. I remember as soon as the week it came out, well, 2 weeks after it came out, and they had it in the local taxi rank. And yeah, as soon as I went in there, it was packed straight away, because there's only one cab in there, and there was about 10, 15 people just all crowded around it. So I didn't know what it was at first. Eventually, I got onto it, and it had the move strip on there. You know, the move strip with all the moves.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And I remember the first person I used on it was Guile, and it said on there, press. All I saw was the arrow left and arrow right and punch, and then down and up. I didn't read like the hold, so I was just like trying to flick it back and forth, trying to do like an instant charge, sonic booms.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were good days. They were, and later on we had it on a chip shop. You know, chips, not potato chips.
Right.
The fries. Yeah,
yes.
Fries.
Mm-hmm.
You've probably seen Monty Python, haven't you? They talk about chips and stuff, don't they?
Well, I've read a lot of Harry Potter, so I know a little bit.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you know what chips are. Yeah, like a chip shop, pretty much like 2 minutes from my mum's house, and they had it in there as well. So I played in there a lot. But yeah, it was like a phenomenon at the time. Yeah, and luckily I was like right on the cusp that I was old enough, because when it came out, 91, so I must have been like 12 at that point, which is like the perfect time to to be, I guess. But yeah, what about you? How old are you, by the way? Were you around when?
I was born the same year as Street Fighter 2. 91.
91. Oh.
Yep. So I'll tell you, I guess, my background with Street Fighter 2. I actually played the home console SNES version first, before I ever played the arcade version. And I had the original Street Fighter 2 SNES version, and then I had Super Street Fighter 2, the new Challengers.
Oh, so you missed Turbo.
Yeah, but did you know on Super Street Fighter 2, the new Challengers, you can add Turbo to it in the main screen. If you press right, it adds 3 stars and it can go into Turbo. Oh,
yeah, that's right. It says Turbo and normal, doesn't it?
Yes. A lot of people don't know about that.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, that's right. But you haven't got the CBS one type sound effects, have you? You got the super sound effects.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. I noticed that. Yeah. Because if you want to play Hyper Fighting, you just get super, can't you? Basically.
Yeah, Hyper Fighting is completely useless.
Yeah, it
is. And the original Street Fighter 2 on SNES is extra useless. Get Super Street Fighter 2, the new Challengers, for sure.
It's like that re-release that came out, which was $100.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
For World Warrior. It's like, it's a lot. You could buy an original one for that. It's not a rare game, is it? I don't know why. There's a collector's version of a super common game, which is obsolete, basically, isn't it?
And it's like red, right? The cart's red or whatever.
Yeah, or if you're lucky, you get a green one.
I think it's just collectors love that kind of crap. I think it's mostly about that more than the game itself.
Yeah, I think people who buy it don't really play Street Fighter 2, I wouldn't have felt, because it seems like a pointless there.
So I wanted to ask you, did you end up playing Street Fighter 2 competitively? Is that right?
Well, yeah, I did, but only that's in like the 2000s. Cause I went into one tournament when Champion Edition came out. It was in a place called Mr. Q's. You can imagine they did pool and snooker. Mm-hmm. And there was a tournament in there one Saturday. And that was actually in 92 as well, like when Champion Edition came out.
Oh, okay.
I played in that. I didn't win, because I couldn't do Dragon Punches on the right-hand side in those days. Only on the left-hand side.
Yes, I know that.
And then the sticks were terrible. They weren't good sticks.
Were they the HAP, those heavy old?
No, if you had those, they would have been half decent. But these are like all I can explain. They're like UK like budget kebab shop snooker hall sticks. There's like no brand. There's no one wants to own up to who made them. They're just like no name rubbish sticks.
Oh, that's
and it
terrible.
was impossible. Yeah, you had to put all your arm into just doing moves. It was hard to block. It was terrible. So it wasn't the best experience. But yeah, and then I started getting competitive on it when I can't remember the name of it now. Corelliera, when it was in Coax, the emulator.
Oh, okay.
It's like an online client which came with Coax, which is like a CPS 1 and 2, a Neo Geo emulator. And it was called Caleria, well, something like that. And you could play online. And I used to play a lot of the London players, Super Turbo on that. Because that's my main game, that is Super Turbo.
Yeah, that's a fantastic game.
Yeah, and I used to go to London meets then for like, they have Super Turbo Sunday, where there's this arcade in London called Heart of Gaming, and they got loads of Japanese arcade machines in there. Like all of
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, all versus cities in a row. It's gone now basically, but it used to be there, and they used to have tournaments in there on a Sunday. So I popped to London, play that. I've been to a few meets at people's houses. You know, people have like little tournaments in their houses.
Yes, that's how it is here.
Yeah, but nothing major. I haven't been to like Evo or anywhere like that.
Yeah, imagine that would be one hell of a trip.
I nearly went to Evo actually, because there was this tournament in London called Battle of Destiny. It was the year Street Fighter 4 came out, and
Yes.
Capcom UK had a preview cabinet there. They had a Vuelix cabinet there with a build of Street Fighter 4. And I got in top. Whoever won the tournaments, Third Strike, I think it was Third Strike, Super Turbo, a CVS2.
Alpha?
I can't remember now. This was like 2006. This was 2005. Oh, actually, no, 2008.
2009.
Yeah, so it must have been a little bit before. I think it's something. I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking of
A little bit before
Absolution then. Sorry, that's another tournament. Yeah. And whoever won the tournament's got a free ticket to Evo at the flight as well.
Wow.
But I got to top 8. I was on the stage. It's on YouTube. It is. It's like an EX Mosquito Battle of Destiny. I'm on the stage, and I just crumbled basically, and I couldn't cope with the pressure because I played this famous French player called Yamazaki.
Uh-huh.
He's like a famous Street Fighter player in France, and I was playing him first in top 8, and I was on stage like all smoke coming up, like those old SBO videos you see, where all the steam comes up. I'm like, oh shit, I can't deal with this pressure. And apparently I couldn't. I played really bad.
I've had very similar experiences to that. I'm about to win and you just crumble at the end. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, and you make decisions you'd never make previous. You're doing things. You're like, why am I doing this? Because like that guy you were on last time, the Gregor guy. I can't remember his name now. So
Eaglet.
Yeah, Eaglet. That's him. He was saying he thrives on the pressure of people watching, and everything's on the line, and he thrives on it. He like feeds off it. Oh man.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
My older brother is that way. He can, under pressure, he can pull out miracles.
I suppose the more you expose yourself to performing under pressure, I guess you get used to it. But yeah, but man, it's so.
That was kind of my journey. I kind of kept at it, and I feel like I've gotten a lot better.
Yeah,
now.
that's good. Can imagine being on like the final of Evo when you're like on TV.
Oh,
and like
God.
and he's like you miss a button or something. And yeah, you're both there at stalemate. Oh, should I jump? Should I not jump? What do I do? Crazy.
And so, when you're playing your shmups and playing shooting games, do you ever feel like that kind of skill transitions over?
Yeah, I think it does. On the surface, it doesn't seem like it does, but I suppose they both got the same sort of. They both require precise precision, don't they? You got to think. Oh, how do I hold the joystick? I find with fighting games and shooting ups, you're constantly thinking different ways. Oh, if I hold it this way, I can get more precision by doing this. And I know fighting games as well. I know shooting ups. You got to really plan ahead, haven't you? You got to think. You got to really apply yourself and think about what you're doing. A couple of my friends, they play shooting ups. I don't see them now, but they used to play shooting ups. But they just like they're not really thinking what they're doing. They just casually go left to right on the screen, just casually shooting. They're not really like thinking what they're doing. To get good at a fighting game, you've got to really apply yourself and look at all the little nuances and. Yeah, and that's what you get good at shooting ups as well, isn't it? You can't just casually just go, oh yeah, blah, 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 shoot this.
Yeah, I think one skill I learned from fighting games is the concept of space control. I played a lot of Street Fighter 4, and you know how you have to kind of control your space, and you really start to look at the space on the screen differently.
Yeah.
And so when I started playing shmups, like the really hard ones, I started to try and apply these kinds of theories and concepts to shmups, where your ship is controlling this amount of space, and the enemy ships are controlling this space.
Yeah.
and you have to kind of guide their bullets away from the space they're controlling, and then enter their space.
Yeah, you worded it way better than I did. Yeah. I mean, you're sort of like leaving yourself a bit of a wiggle room, and it's almost like you're leading the enemy into doing something. Whereas on a shoot 'em up, you're leading the bullets this way, so you've got space to move down. It's sort of like that. And I find as well like the collision, knowing the collision detection and where the hitboxes are and things like that are quite important. Like on shoot 'em ups, like when I first play shoot 'em ups, I usually have like a few like suicide runs to see like, oh, what's the hitbox on the ship? Like, purposely collide with things and try things out, let bullets get super close to you, which is sort of like beat 'em ups, fighting games. See what part of your foot, causes them to block, things like that.
Yeah, I do the same thing. So I wanted to get your opinion on this because I'm a little divided. What do you feel about the more modern shmups just showing you the hitbox? Do you think that kind of takes away from that experience, or do you think it's just a good thing?
I suppose it gives you hard data, I guess, but it sort of takes away the like organic feel of like learning the game, doesn't it?
Right, I'm really divided. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, because like in the old days, because everyone there goes on about frame data and how many frames start up and all that. But I think learning it by feel, I suppose it isn't as hard. You haven't got as hard data as you've seen a box overlap. The thing is, that's not always there, is it? I think it's best to learn it just from the feel and experience more than getting given. it's a hard
I don't know
question.
either. Yeah, sorry, I hit you with a hard-hitting question right there. My thoughts are, one half of me feels it's a good thing because concepts such as hitboxes are foreign to most casual players. Yeah. And so they're not going to understand, like Dodonpachi, like the original one, which doesn't show the hitbox, how the ship can navigate through these bullet patterns, because they probably assume your ship is a hitbox.
Yeah,
right?
You got a point there, actually.
So with newer games, it helps casual players understand, no, your hitbox is actually just this tiny little thing. But at the same time, I play Dodonpachi and I've learned that where the hitbox is, and it does feel magical when you actually get it. And you feel like, yeah, I'm that good. I know the hitbox without even seeing it.
It's like a long way round.
So it's
the same goal, I guess.
So it's hard to know if I like it or not.
Yeah, I don't know. There is no right or wrong answer, really, is there? But I suppose it's more rewarding. It's more rewarding not knowing the hitbox and like finding it out just by raw playing it. But yeah, doing no patch. It's not immediately obvious, is it, where the hitbox is? Because you've got like two bullets touching each other, basically. And you can go in between those two bullets, and you're clearly getting hit. But yeah, you're not, because the hitbox of the bullet is like 20% the size of the sprite, isn't it?
I guess the good middle ground is even if you show the player hitbox, they don't show the bullet hitboxes.
Yeah,
and you still have to kind of learn those.
The thing is, though, in Arcadia magazine, the Japanese magazine Arcadia, I used to get that in like the mid 2000s, and in there it shows you the hitboxes. So
that's awesome.
So the Japanese had, access to those things, even though they didn't have like the emulator showing you that. It did show you, because I remember there was the Dio Geo episode with the big, with the front cover on with the girl with the ship. In that issue, it had all the ships, and it showed you all like the hitboxes and the hitbox of the bullets as well. I think it did, and level maps. It showed you loads of detail.
I got to get my hands on that. That sounds awesome.
It's a good magazine, Arcadia. It's just unfortunate I can't read it. I've been thinking of using that Google Translate app on your phone, which sort of translates things on the fly. You just hold it in front of Japanese text, and if you use your imagination.
Yes, I've used that many times. Street Fighter 2 and playing Missile Command and R-Type, did you end up gravitating towards shmups, or were you just kind of a more all-around hardcore arcade player?
Well, it's weird with shmups, because I played it when R-Type came out, and I played it on the Master System a lot and my Spectrum. And I didn't really play shoot-em-ups that much until it sort of came back into my view in the early 2000s when I used to go on the internet a lot and the like shmup forums and different websites. I started getting the PCBs then. So I remember seeing replays on there's a couple of websites, Chinese websites, to see replays on.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, STG something. But yeah, like early 2000s. And that's when I started getting into mame. And you saw that's when I saw like a Dunon Pachi and Guang and things like that. I thought, oh, what are these games? Because they just come from nowhere. Because I didn't really play a shoot 'em up since like R-Type and like the Super Nintendo days and Mega Drive days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just sort of like snowballed from there. Then I found websites, showing what all these games were. Then all these Psycho games. Because I remember seeing them on the PlayStation. Because Strikers was on that, wasn't it? I remember seeing that. I just started buying the PCBs then. But yeah, I found an old 14-inch monitor, tated it. And so it's basically like early 2000s just started to open up to me. But before that, I didn't really cross my mind apart from like R-Type, I guess. It's hard to get exposed because if none of your friends play them and there's not really any domestic releases, it's hard to get exposed to them, isn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes it's just a matter of stumbling into them and just liking them. That's what I did.
Yeah, it's like meme. I think meme is like the catalyst for a lot of people, isn't it, with the shoot 'em ups? Because
yes,
it's just got a ridiculous amount of games which you'd never see. I mean, where would you see like Guang? That's the first time I saw that was on meme, and it's like a 5-year-old game before that. Before I even knew it existed. But yeah, because I used to buy as soon as I decided I want to get good at shoot 'em ups, I should just buy loads of PCBs then. Because back in those days, I got like. I wonder if I bought Guang, Esbraid, all the cave games, and they were £100 each back in those days.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Guang was £100 delivered, whereas now it's what's that now, like $400 game.
Something like that. Yeah.
Everything was just dirt cheap back in the early 2000s. You could get anything for practically nothing. That's all I played for a few years was shoot 'em ups. My favourite ones at the time then were probably Psycho shoot 'em ups. I didn't really get on with the cave ones at that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just even now cave games. I don't know. It's like almost like my brain can't work out what's coming towards me.
Right.
Whereas Psycho games, I find are a bit more manageable for my tastes, I guess.
Do you like the faster, simpler bullet patterns of the Psycho games more?
Yeah, because they're faster bullets. I have played a fair few of cave games, but I haven't. Well, the only game I completed of the cave ones are Mushy Original and One Life That.
That's a great game.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's about it actually. But yeah, I had a friend because he used to whenever the cave games came out, he had a bit of money and he used to buy the games straight away, $2,500, like $2,400.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
So yeah, I got fond memories of like going to my mum's garage. Yeah, in the cold of Astro City playing a Mushy. He bought what did he buy? Escaluda he bought like a week it came out. A Barra, he just bought loads of boards, like $2,500 each.
Wow. So he had a full-on arcade setup for these, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he had an Aero City in his back room. The thing is, because his back room was so cold that he just played him in his bed in his bedroom on like a little 14-inch Commodore monitor.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Bit crazy. But yeah, it's great. He sold all those boards soon after for like pittance, and now they've just gone whoop back up again, haven't they? All the cave games.
Oh, that's like the worst. He buys them when they come out when they're expensive, sells them when they're dirt cheap, and now doesn't have them when they're really expensive again.
That's the thing. If you wait 1 month, you can get them for like $1,000 cheaper because they're meant to be. They're that much, so you can make your money off them. They're not meant just for private use, even though people do it. But he didn't really stick with the games either. He got them just for like bragging rights, basically. He didn't really sink much time into them, so it was a pointless endeavor on his part, but an expensive one.
Maybe there's something about getting a hold of. I don't have any arcade PCBs, but when I just think about getting a hold of like a cave PCB or something, there's something kind of almost romantic.
There is, yeah, and you got the original as well, don't you? It's like something magical about it, I guess. And now I'm that cave printed on the PCB.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, and nowadays it's an expensive endeavor, isn't it?
Absolutely. So when did you decide you got all these great cave and what were the other PCBs you had?
I used to have 45, 50 PCBs, but they were like cheap ones because there was a local seaside resort near me, and when they were closing down, like the mid '90s, late '90s, I used to go down there, and I used to just get things because my mum used to go to car boot sales and get loads of like little LCD game and watch games, and I used to go down to this go down to the operator of the arcades and swap a big bag of LCD games for a load of PCBs. So over the years, I amassed about like 45 odd PCBs for the price of a few little LCD games with car boot sales. It worked out pretty much like a pound a board, pretty much.
Holy smokes. Were they all shmups, or were they kind of a mixture of arcade games?
It's pretty much all the games of that era. Like I had a few shoot 'em ups in that bundle. It was what I have Gemini Wing. That's a pretty good shoot 'em up. They have Art of Leo. I wish I kept that, to be honest, because that's worth a bomb now, isn't it?
Oh, man.
But no, it's mostly just like your generic stuff like Greenberry, eSWAT, things like that.
Oh, okay. Did you have any fighting games?
Yeah, I got a couple of Street Fighter boots because, as you can imagine, in those days they were quite abundant.
Yes. Did you ever get your hands on like the Rainbow Edition or anything like that?
No. I think it's really annoying, that game, isn't it? Because it just takes all the balance out of the game, doesn't it? It's like they've done all this research, all this game testing, and the Chinese just ruin it. They generally break nowadays because they're built so cheaply with cheap components.
Yeah, they're not gonna make it this long, are they?
Yeah, they just suicide. Like that's why I got rid of all my PCBs because I didn't play it for a while. Plug it in, and the next minute it's dead.
That's what a lot of people have been saying, and that kind of scares me. You invest all this money in this thing that you don't know what it's gonna do from day to day.
Yeah, I think the newer boards, like say the newer cave ones, what have you, they've got like different components. They got like the smaller ones, haven't they? Like they haven't got the service mounted ones. They got the little tiny, the higher quality, aren't they? They're not like the old ones. Yeah, because I had a Shinobi PCB, which turned out to be the version I used to play as a kid.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, in like 1996, I think it was. I got my super gun, and I was looking through the local paper for like and I found this local dealer, and I met him in a pizza shop, and I bought Shinobi off him for £50, and I was talking to him. It turned out that he put that particular version in the video shop that I used to play it in like 87, 88.
Wow.
Exact version. And that died on me recently as well, because I remember I didn't play it for a while. I plugged it in, and all the sprites were all garbled. So they just die for no reason. You just 1 minute they work, plug it in next, dead.
Makes the 360 look good almost. That's a joke. Starting to sell off your PCBs is just you felt like they're kind of ticking time bombs, or?
Yeah, because I sold all those 45s, and I restarted buying them again when I got into games in like 2010, 2011. I bought a load of PCBs. I had about 10, and a load of them just started breaking. I can't deal with this. And I went to an exhibition, like a game exhibition in the UK called Play Expo.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there, and they had Super Turbo on a Versus City, and I was playing it, and halfway through the main menu came up. You know when you press tab, yeah, that came up, and I was playing it for ages, but I didn't know I was playing on main because it looked so good on a CRT, and the responsiveness was like there was no lag at all, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, wow, you can get this, because in the past I've only played it on like an LCD monitor on like a PC, and I didn't know it could look that good, the exact resolution, and as soon as I got home, then I investigated, about MAME or what have you. And that's when I discovered groovey MAME then, and I sold the rest of my PCBs before they decided to kill themselves.
That's an awesome story. What year was this that you discovered groovey MAME?
2012, I think it was.
Oh,
yeah, 2012. Okay. But up until that point, I never even give it a serious consideration, because I played on a computer and the Xbox. It's like, oh yeah, it's all right. Like it's a bit laggy.
It's jank.
Yeah, jank. Yeah, and like the resolution's all compromised, isn't it? And it's all like wavy when you walk. Then you like scroll. It doesn't look right, does it?
Oh no.
But yeah, when you put on the CRT with the with groovey MAME and those CRT EMU drivers, I mean, you get the exact refresh rate, even for like weird games like R-Type, which is like 57.8, some weird refresh rates.
Yes.
Even with games like that, you get the exact resolution, pixel perfect resolution, and the refresh rate, and there's no lag. Well, people have said that you can only get to one frame, can't you? With emulation, you can have one frame regardless.
Well, there's some really interesting news about that. Just, I'd say, within the last month.
Oh, you're on about the RetroArch thing where they run like 3 versions at once, don't they?
They run the emulator ahead of their...
Yeah, that's confusing. That's quite clever, isn't it, I suppose?
It is. Have you done any testing
I haven't, no. I still got the original groovey MAME from 2012. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to mess around with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does sound good.
It's very complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, for the sake of one frame, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can detect one frame enough to matter. And it sounds a lot of headache just to do that. Because the thing, in a way then, though, because you're sort of making it better than the original. Because I remember...
yes, that's what it's about to
mention. Because the Garega is like 3 or 4 frames of lag built into the game. And if you play it on RetroArch with, like, say, like 0 frames, you've almost got like an advantage over the PCB then, haven't you?
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to ask you about is, with groovey MAME, for me, the appeal is definitely getting it on a CRT and getting that lag down. But for you, is it more of the appeal that it's very, very close to the original version? I guess what I'm asking is, if it was possible to make it no frames of lag, but the original version had 1 or 2, would you prefer to play with the original intended lag, or play with no lag whatsoever?
Yeah, I'd like the intent. I could deal with the intended lag, because you're getting how the game was made then, aren't you? I don't think I'd want less lag, because, I don't know, I suppose logically it'd make more sense, wouldn't it? Because why has it got that frames of lag? Was it intentional, or was it the restriction of the hardware?
Hardware.
I know, it's hard to say, isn't it? It's like Garega. Did they mean to have those 3 or 4 frames? Did they put it?
I hope not, because that's just me.
Yeah, I know. Well, like Street Fighter 5 does. They did it on purpose, didn't they? To keep so online's more consistent with offline.
Yeah, that was a terrible idea.
Yeah, it was. It just ruins the game then. It ruins like footsies and whiffing moves.
So what I wanted to ask you, we were talking about refresh rates, and it sounds like you're like me, where you're a bit of a hardware purist. And you're from the PAL region.
Yeah.
So this is a question I've been dying to ask someone. So what are your kind of thoughts on PAL region games and the whole 50 hertz, 50 frames per second? Does that bother you, or do you kind of just say, well, it is what it is?
Are you on about like arcade games now, or just like home games and things like that?
Either one. Home games. I don't know if arcade games had that same issue, but like SNES games and things like that.
Yeah, the whole 50, 60 hertz thing, right? It depends, because I used to get Japanese games, like in the UK, right? In the late 80s, local independent importers just popped up everywhere. So all the consoles that come from like America and Japan, they're all 60 hertz, aren't they? But if you, it's sort of like a misconception that the UK all our games are like 17.5% slower. But ideally, they're not, because all our TVs, as a rule, they're RGB because they got SCART. They got SCART sockets in the back.
Right.
And they do 50, 60 hertz. So even in, say, like 1988, when like the PC Engine imports were coming in the UK, you could play those at 60 hertz in the UK through RGB in the late 80s.
Okay, but you had to play on the Japanese versions, right? Or could you switch the PAL versions?
Yeah, Japanese versions. Yeah, even when the Super Famicom came out, because there's a local importer by me. Like to say, like the week the Super Famicom came out, he had that Japanese one plugged into a UK TV, but because he plugged it in through RGB, it forces it into 60 hertz, and it comes through 60 hertz on a UK TV.
That's amazing to learn that.
Yeah, but not all. It was a hit and miss though, because you could go into electronics place and you could try, say, about 10 TVs, but only 3 would work. But as a rule, all Sony TVs could do 60 hertz. Yeah, it was hit and miss, because when I bought a new TV in 1996, I took my Turbo Duo into the electronics store with me, because I wanted to find a TV which supported RGB and 60 hertz. And I tried like 4 different TVs, and only the Sony did it.
Were the other TVs like Philips and non-Japanese brands?
Well, there's the own brand of the actual store that didn't work, but it's weird, right? Because my friend had a 21-inch Philips, right, and he used to run a Neo Geo CD at 60 hertz through that, and it worked perfect through RGB scat, 60 hertz, full screen, full speed. And my friend bought a 25-inch version of that same TV, and it wouldn't work. It's just hit and miss. It was random. And the thing is, he tried to take that TV.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just random. He tried to take that TV back to the shop, but because it wasn't broke, they wouldn't give him.
They were like,
they wouldn't
no
give his
way.
money back. No, so it spent
Oh my god, that's terrible.
Yeah, so we spent like £350, which is like $500 on a TV, and it wouldn't work. But he thought, this 21-inch works, so this 25 will work. But as a rule, all Sony TVs used to work 60 hertz RGB.
That's amazing, and that works with. I guess my next question is, will that work with PAL region games?
It will, yeah.
Like if you had
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they work. Sony TVs work through. Say a console wasn't RGB, it'd work NTSC composite as well through 60 hertz. Sony TVs would.
Okay.
Yeah, so as long as you got Sony TV, the 60 hertz thing wasn't an issue, and you could get input consoles, just a phone call away.
Oh, okay. So you guys had a lot more exposure to import options as well.
Yeah, but saying that, right? Me personally, I was playing 50 hertz until 1995, until I got my a job, so I could buy a Sony telly. So yeah, it affected me, but it didn't need to. If I bought a telly, I would have been alright.
So it sounds like as long as you have the correct television, you can run those PAL region games at 60 frames per second.
You can, yeah.
That's very good that you cleared that misconception up, because as far as I was aware, I did not know that. I thought you were locked in, and it was like hard programmed into the game that you're 50 hertz and that's all you get.
No, it gets more complicated than that, mind, because say you plug a Japanese game into a 50 hertz PAL Mega Drive, it'll play at 50 hertz. But if you plug a PAL Mega Drive game into a Japanese 60 hertz console, it'll force it 60.
So is it more tied to the hardware, where the hardware figures out, like let's say you're using I don't know what consoles this works with, but like you said, your PC Engine, right? So if you plugged your PC Engine into a TV that would only accept 50 hertz, your PC Engine would be the thing to figure out this is only 50 hertz, and not the individual games.
No, the PC Engine would, and it would come through black and white, or it wouldn't work at all. Sometimes it can come through black and white. That's when you could put it. It gets confusing, because it's weird, right? Because
I know the black and white.
then you got to have RGB to make it color, because it doesn't support NTSC color then. But it gets confusing then, because when the PlayStation 1 came out, the 50-60 hertz is dictated by the game, not the console. Whereas before that,
see, yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so you could put get a PlayStation 1 PAL chipped, and you could put a Japanese game in a PAL PlayStation, and it'd run at 60 hertz.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so the game dictates the speed, not the console dictates the speed. Whereas like 16-bit, the console dictates the
console. Speed. Okay, now we're getting somewhere to solving this mystery for me. Because I've sat and wondered this forever. Because for me, I've come across PAL region games, and I'm a little bit of a snob. I want my 60 frames. So I'd assumed PAL region, if it's the older consoles, it's not going to be any good for me, because I've only get 50 frames, it won't work on my TV. But you're saying with the older consoles, it's not the game's fault.
No, it's not the game's fault.
It's your
the
TV.
It's the TV. It's a console plugged into the TV. It's not necessarily the TV's fault because the TV could maybe do 60 hertz, but the console is 50. But it gets confusing then, though, because some games, right, because they knew it was going to be played predominantly at 50 hertz, they compensated and sped the game up to play the same speed.
Right, I've heard of
Yeah.
I've heard
so
of that.
then, if you plug that optimized 50 hertz game into a 60 hertz console, it'll go too fast. So...
You know what, though? If that is possible with Gradius 3 on the SNES, that would be a good thing.
Yeah, it play arcade speed then, wouldn't it?
Yes,
all they got to do is just get one less speed up and be back to normal. But yeah, it gets confusing.
There you go.
But it's weird. Some games, like say, some games are optimized because there's more pixels on the PAL standard. They programmed the screen to be filled to take the borders away.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like 500 and... I'm not going to pretend I remember. It's more. It's bigger. Because if you put, say, a PAL Sega Rally on a Saturn onto a 60 hertz Japanese Saturn, because the screen was stretched to compensate for the borders, for the higher resolution, the picture is off the screen at the top and bottom, so you can't even see the car of the car, and it's too fast. So yeah, before you buy PAL games, you want to research before you buy them. It's not like... Yeah. It's very confusing.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up because...
I think I just confused it more.
Well, at least you let us know that there's a lot more to it than every PAL game is locked at 50 and that's it.
It's good in a way because it's bad because, your everyday person on the street, they're going to have a compromised experience. But if you know about it, you can get... Because even now, you can just go on like Facebook tree, the ads on Facebook, where people are selling things. You can get like a 21-inch Sony Trinitron for say like £10, and it'll be RGB, and you just plug SCART in there. You got like an RGB solution without having to spend for a PVM.
Yeah, I know. That's a little less viable here in the US because like my Trinitron I'm sitting next to right now only does S video. It will not go up to RGB.
That's the thing.
I have a Philips that does RGB though.
Oh, that's nice.
But I think in the US, it's kind of an interesting situation because you get purists like me who want RGB, but the only way to really get that is either special later CRTs have them through component.
That's right, you get component to RGB.
Or you get a PVM. The problem for me though is I play shmups and I like my screen to be big so I can see all the bullets and stuff, and a lot of the PVMs in my area are just these little babies.
Yeah, I know. You see on Facebook, they got a collection of like 8-inch PVMs, and it's not practical for anything, is it?
No. Or they're not that good as far as size-wise. So what I've been telling people in my area is, if you're into shmups, and you want to play on a CRT, and you want size, S-Video is close enough to not be worth dropping, $1,000 or something.
I think I prefer that, because if your options are like a 12-inch RGB, or say 26-inch S-Video, you're going to go the S-Video, aren't you? And just, just deal with it. Because I think the experience would be better with a bigger screen rather than the extra clarity, I would have thought.
Yeah, and the clarity, I have both, and I compared the clarity between the two, and it's not, you can tell the difference, but it's not, it's just like more vibrant colors.
Yeah, it's just S-Video slightly
what you're
washed
mostly
out,
getting.
isn't it? Very slightly washed out.
Yes.
But you still got the sharp lines. Yeah, just like it's slightly blurry. But,
yeah, it's not like composite where it's muddy and awful. S-Video is a lot better than people realize.
Yeah, because for years and years I was playing for RF, so anything's better than that. Yeah, RF and mono sound RF.
Yeah,
I think, but back in those days, you just didn't care. You just if it's if it's in color and it's close to the arcade, and so I played a Spectrum for a long time.
Yeah, and I think also what people need to realize is back in those days, everything looked like crap. Your TV looked like crap. Your movies looked like crap. Your VHS looked like crap. So it wasn't weird that your games looked like crap.
As long as you can make out what's happening on the screen, you're happy. You're happy, weren't you?
Basically, yeah.
Good. But yeah. Anyway, so it's good. The UK it has a bad rap for its TVs, but given the right knowledge, it is probably the best because you got your RGB 60 hertz just off the shelf basically.
That's awesome to learn about.
And like most consoles, pretty much every console can be done RGB, can it?
I think another cool thing about the UK that I've heard is that, you guys have a lot more experience with imports and things like that than a lot of other regions because you're so close to Japan, right?
Are we close? I don't know.
Or
No,
you
really.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
globally, on a global
yeah,
scale.
yeah,
Because I'm near California, which is kind of close to Japan, so I get a lot more, like, I have a lot easier time with imports than I think a lot of other people do
yeah.
as
But
well.
yeah, imports have always been around. Yeah, because our first import, we used to have like a magazine called Computer and Video Games, like I mentioned earlier, and they had adverts in there for the PC Engine as early as like '88. You could buy imports, and you go to London. There's a famous street in London called Tottenham Court Road, and
Yes, I've
you've
heard
heard
of
that,
it.
yeah? Because you go there in like say 1990. And there's like, I don't know, say about 20 import shops all in one street, all with Japanese games. It was a
That's
it was nuts. 'Cause I
crazy.
used to go there on a day trip at Christmas every year, and I used to go to London. And it's just, yeah, it's magical. Just because where I live, there's one import shop.
That's like a trip to Mecca for a video game nerd, It sounds like
Yeah,
just a street full of imports and video games. Oh
yeah,
my
yeah. So
gosh.
it's like you go there, and like, because I went the first time I went to London when I saw those import shops. Yeah, it was 88, 89, and yeah, you like, see the PC Engine in there the first time, and it's just like rows of PC Engine games, and you go there, Golden Neo Geos and stuff. And I'm only used to like the domestic stuff where I live, and yeah, it was crazy seeing all that stuff because like it's sort of lost now all that stuff because everything's on the internet and you just phone up or fill in a form online or click buy it now. Whereas back then it was always
A lot more
yeah,
exciting.
because I used to go on holiday like different places, and you go down the side street, and you just go, you find like an import shop out of nowhere, and you go in there, and you see all these games you've never seen before, and you're just like discovering everything new. It's all exciting, whereas now it's sort of
That is an exciting
yeah
feeling.
spoiled in a way now because yeah everything's there for you, isn't it?
Plus, pop psychology teaches you if you see the games and are able to touch them, you're more attached to them and want to buy them, right?
Yeah,
Rather than browsing through them online.
yeah. Cause I got sentimental value from like to my early games. Like I still got my very first Mega Drive game I had in 1990. Yeah, eSWAT I bought. Because I'm in the early 2000s, I sold all my games. Like about 120 odd Mega Drive games. I sold them all.
What kind of motivated you to sell them? Just
I don't
we're
know.
over it kind of
I
thing?
just woke. I woke up one day. I'm not playing any of these. I went on the ISC Shmups forum actually. They used to have a shmup.
Oh, really? And
Yeah,
sold them off,
they
huh?
used to have a Shmups forum on Fnet. Hashtag Shmups it was, and
Uh-huh.
I sold them to a guy in there. I think it's £500 for like 120, 130 Mega Drive games. And I made a conscious effort to keep the original because I was attached to it.
I think that's a thing a lot of gamers experience. My brother did that, and he sold all his crap to
Mm.
me. Well, he basically gave all me. Okay, what happened was my older brother and I shared all our video games growing
Yeah.
up. And when he became a teenager, late teenage, he's like, this stuff's whack. I'm a cool kid in school now. I don't need all this crap. I'm gonna sell it. No, don't sell it. I love this stuff. Okay, but I'm selling my stuff, like my games. I said, no, don't sell them. I'll buy them for you. So I bought all his video games from
Oh,
him
nice.
for like $30 or
No,
something.
that's not bad. Well, you still got them as well. Have you kept hold of everything?
Yeah, I have them all.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's a good thing I did. He about sold off all our childhood games on a
Did
whim.
he? It's so easy though, isn't it? Back then, you don't even think. You just think, oh, there's new things there, there's old things here, I don't want it anymore, and you just sell it, don't you?
Yeah,
What I should
exactly.
do is just what I should have done in retrospect is just I didn't need the money as such. I just didn't want it in the room. I thought, I'm bored of all those stuff there. We just sold it. I should have just put it in the attic or something and just got it out when I come
Right.
to my senses and got it back down again.
Right, exactly. I honestly feel like our generation is unique in that, well, you're a little older than me, but
Mm,
still, like, this kind of time period, we're unique because we kind of matured along with video
I
games.
know.
There wasn't any precedence for video games
Yeah.
before. And so a lot of people in our age range viewed video games as like a kid's thing, a thing for when you're young. And so when we hit maturity, we're like, okay, we're out of this now. This is for kids. We're grown up.
Yeah.
We're getting rid of our video games and our Pokemon cards and we're moving
Yeah.
on. And it'll be interesting because now I don't think like my son will go through that where he won't become a teenager and be like, oh, well, video games are for
Yeah.
kids because they're already established. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm kind of
It didn't really
rambling,
have a
but
category as such. It was like put in the same category as say like Star Wars figures, wasn't it? It wasn't its own thing, was
yes,
it? So
exactly.
sell your Star Wars figures on your games. It's in the same category as the thing you do when you're a kid, but it's not.
Toys. Exact. It's a considered a toy.
Yeah, it's like now I'm 39 years old now, and yeah, I like games more than I did back then, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, so fingers crossed they appreciate them a bit more.
And I remember watching your channel when I first actually heard about your channel before even, just like a few days before I started the podcast. Yeah, from your Gradius playthrough. Maybe great minds think alike kind of thing. But when I saw the way you format your videos where you're playing on your cabinet and you're filming yourself playing,
Yeah,
I was thinking of doing that myself.
yeah. Because when you're recording with meme and stuff, if you do a direct feed, there could be like some funny business going on, can there? Like, it could be like save state in it, and going back a bit.
All day.
You could be doing a Billy Mitchell on your replay, but
There, exactly.
So that's why I did it initially.
Oh, really? As like an anti-cheat proof you're not cheating.
Well, when you're watching it, it's almost like you're watching somebody at an arcade, almost, isn't it? You're getting that like old arcade feeling of watching over someone's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but actually, I stole that camera angle off somebody. There was a guy on the Jammer Plus forums, and he did a couple of replays like that. So I thought, oh, that's a good idea. So I stole it off him.
I think that's a great idea. Like you said, you're looking over someone's shoulder playing the game, and it also kind of gives you a chance to see how the game looks on a CRT. That's like the only way, really, to show what it looks like on a CRT is to film the CRT itself.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky on some games because some games got funky refresh rates, and if you're recording like 30 or 60, you get banned in on the screen. Like I tried to do like a marathon run of Kung Fu Master, that old IRM game, but the refresh rate on it is so funky that it just wouldn't work. It's like every couple of seconds, a big band comes down the screen, like, whoop. You couldn't see anything. There's more bands on the screen than there was actual gameplay.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so it's not. It looks good and authentic, but you got to try and find games which are like close to 60 kilohertz.
Is it possible to adjust your camera's frame rate to weird configurations or no?
Yeah, I found that recently with when I did the R-Type one, because that was a weird refresh rate. It was like 57 hertz, kilohertz, megahertz. I don't know, 57. And I found an app on the iPhone that does that. You can adjust it incrementally. So I only found that nice. It's called Filmic Pro. So you can do.
Yeah, I know that app.
Yeah, so I use that, and even if you can adjust it, so there's nearly no banding, and then there's another option on there which you can like do the exposure, and it sort of filters out those subtle bands that you got left. Yeah, so
nice.
Using that, you can pretty much film any CRT any game I've tried anyway. But I've only found it recently with R-Type, and that was quite extreme filming that, because like I said, it's 57, which is with a normal 60, it's atrocious. But with that Filmic Pro thing, you get away with it.
That's awesome, and I love the format of your channel.
Yeah,
because it's basically how I imagined when I was going to do a YouTube channel, doing my own YouTube channel. Is kind of doing arcade game playthroughs on a cabinet type thing, and then having some commentaries over it and stuff.
Yeah, it's hard doing the commentaries. It's like you're halfway through it. You play it for like 10 minutes, and you can't think of anything to say. You think, oh, do I stop now? And you can't exactly redo it either. You can't add it on afterwards because you don't know where you stopped and where did you start.
Yes, I know that exactly.
It's like that final fight one I did. I had to talk for like 40 minutes, and so it's so hard to just try and ramble on about something for 40 minutes without it being like big silences in there. And I try to change up the format near the end on the R-Type one. because I used to get trouble with the bloody the cats jumping on. Because I when I film it, I film with an iPad and an ironing board with two candles either side, so it doesn't flop forward or back. And yeah, and if you don't lock the cats out of the room, the cats jump on there and knock it all. So they've ruined a few of my runs by doing that, just like knocking things off. So that's why.
I have a cat. I know exactly what you're
So
saying.
annoying.
I wanted to ask you about your groovy mame setup.
Yeah, I'm no expert on setting a groovy mame, right? I've only done it once, and I've left it as it is because it's a bit of a pain in the ass to set up.
I can imagine.
But yeah. What do you want to know?
Well, I want to first know, where did you get your cabinet? Because that cabinet is awesome.
Yeah, that right. As far as I know, was the first Astro City in the UK, because there was a website called Killer Cabs, and they brought the first shipment of Japanese cabs in the UK, and I think they brought about it's about I think about 100 cabinets, and before they sold all the cabinets, right? This is like a detour now. I'll go back to the original question. Yeah, they bought like 100 cabs in, maybe more than that. But before they sold them all, they did an exhibition. It's called Insert Coin '08, I think it was. And they hired a big room, and they set up every single cabinet in 2 big rows and just filled them full of PCBs. And they had like a 2-day event. And yeah, that was amazing. I think Icarus was there off the Shmups Forum. You know Icarus? Yeah,
oh, cool.
He was there. 'Cause I know,
yes. Well, I don't know him directly, but I definitely know his content.
He was playing Batrider on there, I think. But yeah, that was an amazing event. Imagine that, like over 100 Japanese cabinets just set up in the UK in a big all-in-one place. It was unreal. But yeah,
that is
for that place. What's the original question? Yeah, where'd I get it?
Where'd you get that cabinet?
That's right. I fast forwarded 2 days in a day then. I got it from France because as soon as I found out about the shoot 'em ups and all the videos, I remember watching videos because there were videos online back in those days where they're filming themselves on the arcade machine.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw one guy who was playing, I think it was Strikers 1945-2, and his mate was filming him. And I looked at the cabinet, I thought, oh, that's a nice cabinet, and he's sitting down. And I researched it, and I found out it was a Sega Astro City, and I really wanted one. And in London, there's a few places that have got sit-down cabinets, and I phoned them up on the off chance, can you get one of these cabinets? Can you next time you import some stuff? But they couldn't. And I found this website where arcade operators go on if they want like a crane machine or something, and there's like a European site. And I put a message on there on the off chance because I couldn't get one. I thought, how am I going to get a Japanese cabinet? No one sells them. And this place in the south of France replied and said, we got 3 here, and it'll be like €290, and it was £400 shipping. Yeah, so I got it from him, and I had to wire money through Western Union for their insane fees, and I got it from south of France basically, and it's lucky as well because I don't need a step down for it because the UK is 240 volts. It's officially converted to UK power supply by Sega themselves. It says Sega Europe on the back, so I think
that is so cool.
I think they were using that because there's a thread on Arcade Otaku forum that apparently in France in like the late 90s, there's a place in France like a Sega arcade that had Astro Cities in there, and I think it's from there. So it's officially official Sega cabinet that's converted to 240 volts from the UK, for the UK. But that was such a harsh wait to have that because I was in work. I was having it delivered to work. I was going to get it home another time, and I was waiting in work for it. And the guy was guaranteed, I'll have it today. And it's like 5 o'clock nearly, and still not here. So I had to go home without the cabinet. And the next day arrived. He said, I tried to bring it. I tried to deliver it to you yesterday, but I couldn't find where you were. And so I had a day late. But that one day was so painful. I thought, I can finally get it today, and it didn't turn up.
Yeah.
but yeah, and I kept that. That was in my mum's garage for years and years because I didn't move out till it.
Yeah, where do you put these bad boys? So I can understand.
Yeah, my mum had a garage. I didn't move out till I was like 32. That's quite late, isn't it? I didn't move it till I was 32. And
Sometimes I wish I hadn't moved out, so
it's more
I
expensive,
understand.
isn't it? So yeah, it was basically down my mum's
Hell
garage
yeah.
for like 9 years. And I used to use it now and again, but in the summer it was like so hot down there. And in the winter I couldn't feel my hands. But me and my friends,
Yeah, it sounds like my shed, so I understand.
so yeah, me and my mate, I remember like a few Saturday nights we were down there with like a little fan heater putting out our hands, but like breathing steam out of our mouths, playing mushy on it, taking turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so bad. But I rarely play it, and I got my own place now, and yeah, that's when I started. I get some use out of this because it's handy because I got it in the living room now, so it's easy to
Oh, there
it's
you
easy
go.
to access.
Did you have to do some hard negotiation to get it in there, or did your wife say, "Oh, it's all good"?
Well, I pay the mortgage, so
There you go.
I,
There you
I
go.
get,
You got it.
yeah, so I get the corner of the living room. So yeah, so it's really handy. Like Stacey's watching the soaps, like EastEnders and Coronation Street.
Mhm.
The UK people know that. Yeah, I just go in the corner of the room and just play on the arcade machine. But I think it's when it was in my mum's garage, it was such a pain. It's like I was in my bedroom. I think, should I go on the arcade machine? Because I had a Super Gun set up in my bedroom as well. I had a Tate set up with my Commodore 14-inch Commodore monitor, and it was just easier to play that. But like you said, 14 inches for like shoot 'em ups.
It's like
it's hard, isn't it?
You might as well put on a pair of like binoculars while you're playing because sometimes it's hard to see the bullets. You just are flying around and die. You're like, what hit
you can't
me?
focus on a 29-inch on the Astro City. You play a vertical game, and it's like night and day. It's like you can see things you couldn't see before. It's like you had your eyes like half closed.
Exactly.
But saying that though, right? The guy on Shmups who's got the tool on Ketsui, Mr. Monkey Man, Monkey Man, I think is the first guy who did it. He did that. I think I read somewhere on on a 14-inch monitor rotated vertically. So he managed to do it. So I don't know. That's just that close.
That's some serious visual acuity. Well, how good is your vision? Because my vision is okay, but it's not great. So I don't think I could actually physically see the bullets that well on that small of a monitor.
Yeah, I can't do it. But yeah, I did on the 14-inch. I managed. Well, those are my younger days. These were like the early 2000s. So I did a tour of Strikers 1945 2 on that monitor.
Nice.
And the first Looper Dragon Blaze.
Oh, okay.
So I saw the PCB of that. Yeah, the kit, £130. That was like practically new. Yeah, it's gone up a bit now. And I did the first loop mushy on it. So yeah, back then I could do it, but now, yeah, I think my eyes have deteriorated a little bit since then. But yeah, I need 29-inch now to or 21 minimum, say.
The funny story about your cabinet, the Sega Astro, is that before I was into shmups, I was really into fighting games and Virtua Fighter, and I loved the Virtua Fighter 3 cabinet. I was like, oh, I really want to get one of these. And it is a Sega Astro.
Yeah, that's right. It's like a stand-up version.
Yeah. Yes.
That's right. Yeah, it's like a plastic curvy machine, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's exactly yours. Like it has the green joystick, green buttons, pink on the other side.
Is it? Oh, right. Yeah, because we had Virtua Fighter 3 cabinets in this country. They were stand-up versions of it. It must be like a stand-up, I should say.
Oh.
Yeah, like a big marquee. Perhaps it was just a UK version, but yeah, I didn't know that. So that makes sense. Yeah, because Astro City came out in like '95, didn't it? So perhaps that was the time. Yep. Yeah, the time Virtua Fighter came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, because that's what I use my arcade machine for as well. Is because I got the PC linked up to it. I play Fighter Online with Fightcade.
Yes, I love Fightcade.
Yeah, so it's good for that as well because you can go back and forth. And because if you set it up with a JPack, you can go back and forth with PCBs. Because basically, all the JPack does is turn your PC into a giant PCB, basically. So, because I still got one PCB, I got Tetris Grandmaster, and I swapped that over. I could pull out mame, just plug it straight in there. So, if you do get a cabinet and mame it, it's not like the end of the world for PCBs. You can just use it for both.
That's great to know.
Yeah, because that's originally I thought, I don't want to just go one way, and if I do change my mind, which I probably would have, but if I did, I can go back to PCBs. But yeah, if you go the JPack route, you haven't got to really do anything to the arcade machine. You can still, it's all pretty much original still.
That's cool. So as far as playing Fightcade goes, it's not using groovey mame. It has its own I think Final Burn Alpha is the emulator it uses. So how does that work with your cabinet? Do you have a setup that will make it 15 hertz and all that? Or
It just works. It just works with the CRT EMU drivers.
oh, it could do anything.
Because I set up 60 hertz, 15 kilohertz, 240p. It's got the CRT EMU drivers. It's got that profile in there from Groovy Mame, and it just uses that. It uses that, so you can play like the Mega Drive on there in 240p. It all uses.
Oh, that's
it's
awesome.
like a separate thing. It's like Groovy Mame, and there's CRT EMU drivers, and Groovy Mame uses a CRT.
Oh, okay. So you could, if you felt like it, you could sit there and browse the internet on your CRT. If you
That's
felt
what
like
I do.
it.
Yeah, that's what I say. I want to download like the new Fightcade or download a PC Engine game. Yeah, I download PC Engine games on the arcade machine.
That's kind of a revelation for me, because all you need a special graphics card, don't you?
Yeah, but they're so cheap because unless you want to do like really intense 3D stuff, these old ATI graphics cards are dirt cheap. I think I paid like £15 for mine off eBay. The PC I got in there is a Core 2 Duo. There's nothing majorly fat. It's like a 2.4 gigahertz Core 2 Duo, and and it's £15 graphics card, and it runs everything I want anyway. But I think it might struggle with, say, like the new Cave games. But yeah, like Diogo, I think if you put that on there, maybe you struggle with it. But all the things I use it for, it's handy. But yeah, so some people they modify it so you boot up into MAME. But I like just booting up into the desktop because I can do like Fightcades. You can download stuff, burn CDs. Yeah, you can like boot up other emulators. Yeah, it's a good solution. It's pretty much like the ultimate setup, really, if you think about it, because you got the PCBs. If you get like a nice PCB, you can use MAME. You can do your Fightcades all on a CRT.
Yeah, that does sound like the ultimate setup. It's probably something I'm going to start looking into. My next question is, as far as Groovy Mame and your setup is concerned, are there areas of improvement that you're kind of wanting to see for the future?
With what specifically? With Groovy Mame?
With Groovy Mame, yes.
I don't know if it's pretty much perfect for me at the moment. It is pretty much perfect. I can't think of any way to improve it. Perhaps a lag, but I mean, there is a way of the new Groovy Mame. You can offset the lag to get even less lag on it. But
oh really?
Yeah, it's like a weird option in the INI file. I haven't looked into it too much because the one frame I don't really notice it that much. But as it is, I mean, that's why I haven't messed with it since like 2012 because it just works. It does everything I wanted to do, basically.
Yeah. And I remember hearing you mention that you don't get any kind of screen tearing or anything like that.
No, because if you use like normal MAME, you would get it, but in conjunction, if you use those CRT EMU drivers in conjunction with Groovy MAME, it doesn't. You don't get any screen tearing at all. Because with standard MAME, you need to enable VSync, don't you, to take the tearing away, but that introduces like significant lag. Then you can feel it. You press left and right fast. You can feel it, can you?
Oh yeah, I definitely know.
But no screen tearing. It is perfect. I know it seems like a cop-out answer, but I don't know where we could improve it. How could you improve it? It's got like no lag, no screen tearing. It works everything I want it to. I suppose like supporting newer games, I guess, but I don't really play that many newer games really. Just
Right. How high can it go with the games? Like, could you play Third Strike on it, for instance?
What do you mean, the resolution? You mean?
Well, I just mean games that are supported by Groovy Mame in your current setup. Could you play like a CPS3 type game like Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, or is that a little beyond?
No, I think Groovy Mame's only like a day behind the normal Mame because somebody does a build of Groovy Mame. Yeah,
okay.
It's nothing too special about it. It's as soon as the new Mame comes out, pretty much like a couple of days after the Groovy Mame equivalent's out.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's not
awesome.
Like shmup Mame where it's not updated very often.
Right. That's what I was about to say because I use shmup Mame, and I love shmup Mame, but the areas of improvement I see is one, the screen tearing issue, because I don't play with VSync, so I got a lot of screen tearing going on. And then the second issue is a lot of games are just not supported. Like if I want to play Metal Slug, it doesn't work.
Really? Not even Metal Slug? That's an old game, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I've tried to get Metal Slug to run on there.
Yeah, no. Groovy Mame is it's in the same category as the regular Mame. It just comes out afterwards. I don't know why shmup Mame is so specialized because it does a weird thing with a sprite buffer, doesn't it? I noticed on some games when if you use that, it goes all funky, doesn't it? It doesn't scroll with the screen; it judders around, doesn't it?
Yes. Definitely better than regular mame, but it sounds like, to me, it sounds like for the future, groovy mame, since shmup mame isn't really updated anymore, and groovy mame might be the way to go.
But the only thing is, yeah, it's the entrance barrier. You gotta install all these weird drivers. You gotta boot the PC on in a 31 kilohertz environment. Install the drivers and plug it for the PC monitor. Plug it into the CRT. Then finish the installation on the CRT. There's like a weird thing like that. You need two TVs to set it up because once it's gone to 15 kilohertz, you can't plug it back in a PC monitor.
Yeah, because it'll just be like, what the hell?
It's tricky. So if you spend the time to do it, that is the ultimate solution. And like you said, shmup meme isn't updated that often, and you're pretty much stuck there, aren't you? Unless they update it. But yeah, groovy meme is pretty much on par with the regular meme.
Yeah, and it sounds like you need a dedicated computer for this, right? Would you say?
Yeah.
Because, for instance, let's say I have a PC, pretty high performance gaming PC. If I stuck this other video card in there, I guess I could figure out a way maybe to boot to the different video cards.
Oh,
but
I don't know. Yeah.
That sounds kind of tricky.
I don't know. That's confusing. I don't know. That sounds like it could be possible. Yeah, that's the thing, because when you install those custom drivers, you're overwriting the existing ones. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could do like a dual boot, have like an operating system in 31 kilohertz and an operating system in 15. Would that work? I don't know. That's actually stupid. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm sure someone out there will think we're crazy talking that way, but
yeah, it's best to just have a dedicated one. Because I got mine off like a local paper. I just picked it off some guy, and it's like £150, I think it was, and
yeah, that sounds a lot simpler.
Main games, you don't need a super fast PC to play them, really, do you? Because my 2.4 Core 2 Duo works everything. Like, yeah, granted, I don't play the newer cave games, but everything I've tried on it after like early 2000s seemed to work on it fine.
Favorite shmup? I haven't even asked you that yet. What's your favorite shmup?
Well, the one I spent the most time with, I suppose, would be my favorite, wouldn't it? Maybe, but probably Striker 1945 2.
Oh yeah,
that's the game I spent the most time with. That nearly put me off shooting ups, to be honest. But
oh no,
yeah, because that's the one I managed to tool that one. So yeah, that's why I spent the most time with it, and it's good as well, the PCB, because that game, it would take it's good for like. You could take advantage of it with like save states to practice, but the PCBs of cycle games has got a maintenance mode, so you can start any level at any rank. So yeah, so
nice.
You can always say you want to practice 2-6, you can go on there, go round 2, 6, max rank. So you can start the level off with max power as if you got there in one life.
That's really cool.
So that's why I like that game, because that's why I put so much time into it. Because I thought, I can practice tricky bits on the PCB. So that's a good, yeah. So it'd probably be Strikers 1945 2, my favorite. Even though I don't like it too much now, because so many bad memories of thousands of deaths. Yeah, rage. Yeah, because so unforgiving that game is. Yeah, because Psycho Bullet Patterns, you've already played it. It's just they're just fast, aren't they? They're like, it's like traps. You got to know if it's aimed, because sometimes they fire a big spread at you, like, but it's aimed to miss, and you dodge into it. So a lot of the patterns on there are like, are sort of like traps, really. You gotta just keep rinsing to know if it's aimed. Is it static? Is it aiming? So is it aiming for you? Aiming away from you? But it looks like.
Yeah, that's That's what I was about to say. Is a lot of because I actually play a lot of Psycho shmups, and I feel like their bullet patterns are. I call them memory check. Do you remember this pattern? If you don't, you're dead.
You can't. If you can't get to a boss, I think, oh, I'll just fluke this on my first go. You can't do it, can you? It's like it's like a trap. It's like a puzzle. You got to think, right, that's aimed, so I got nope. But it's aimed to miss. The second wave is aimed to miss, so I dodge. So I stay still for the first one, tap for the second one, and it's a nightmare, isn't it?
I've played a ton of Gunbird. Like, I've played all of them, but Gunbird is the one I've probably played the most of. And one thing I really dislike about at least that game, I think it kind of carries over to a lot of the Psycho games, is I don't like where the hitbox is right at the front rather than in the middle. And I'm used to being in the middle, so I get nailed a lot because I'm not used to the hitbox being right at the front of the
it makes sense to just be like, kick the pixels left and right and just bang it in the middle and work your way out. But they just I suppose it's more realistic, because if your head's at the top, that's the most vital part of your head.
True. That's very true.
Anatomically correct. Gunbird is, if you think about it.
Yeah. Do you like some of the other Psycho, like horizontal ones, like
Sengoku Blaze?
I was about to say, Sengoku Blade.
It's weird, like, because Psycho Bullet, dodging bullets like inverting when you're going up the screen, it's easy, isn't it? But when you got those bullet patterns going horizontally, it doesn't. It's hard to understand, isn't it? It's like it feels foreign. So I try playing them, but I don't know. It's like it's got vertical patterns, but firing from right to left instead of top to bottom. And I couldn't get on with them. The same with Pro Gear. It just feels weird dodging from right to left. It feels, because it's something. I think it's just in our DNA, like in our evolution. When you're going forwards, it's easy to dodge things going forwards, isn't it?
Yes. Then going from. It feels, I know exactly what you're saying. When you're dodging horizontally, especially those types of bullet patterns, because you feel like you're falling, so you feel like you need to go down a lot, and going up feels weird.
Yeah, you're fighting the gravity, aren't you? Like almost.
Yeah, because when you're playing a vertical shmup, moving in all 4 directions, or 8, however you want to say it, feels natural. But when you're playing a shmup, moving up feels really weird. I don't know why.
I think it just plays your instincts, because it does feel weird, doesn't it? But when things are coming down, it seems to be your brain's easier to process. We going into something rather than going horizontal, because you don't usually go horizontal when you're walking down the street. You're always going forwards, aren't you? I think it's just like your evolution is just predisposed us to vertical. Dodging vertically, and then sideways.
I went through this phase of trying to do some weird stuff with shmups just for the fun of it. And one thing I did was, in MAME, I rotated Dodonpachi to be sideways and tried to play it horizontally. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, there's a couple of games there's a couple of games that do that. You can play them like conversions. You can play them in the native resolution, but sideways. But they use the controls correct, aren't they? Like you go up and you go up on the screen, but sideways. Yes. I tried. It just feels wrong, doesn't it? It feels foreign.
It feels insane to do that.
It's like a different game, isn't it? It's like you're not looking at the same. It's like a different game.
It's not even the same game. If you do that.
I find that it's strange. There must be some like a biological explanation for it. Yeah, it's
I've also flipped a shmup upside down to where the bullets are flying up the screen at you instead of down at you. That is bizarre
I've done
too.
That on are you aware of Tetris Grandmaster, the fast Tetris game?
I learned about it listening to the podcast you're on.
But playing that, there's a cheat you can do on that, because there's loads of like joystick configure taps you can do to get different cheats. And there's a thing on that where you play Tetris upside down, where the blocks come from the bottom and go up. Even though it's like the same game, it's just orientated 180 degrees. It shouldn't be that much different, but it just feels. Yeah, it feels like you're trying to you're right with your left hand, you're right with the opposite hand you're used to.
Yes.
Or like in your car, like the accelerator's on the opposite side and your brakes on the other side. It shouldn't be that drastic, but it just feels weird. I know what you mean, but it shouldn't be, should it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Weird. So, have you played many other Psycho games? What have you tried? Dragon Blaze.
I haven't tried it. I'm gonna pick it up on the Switch.
It's weird because there's a couple of generations of Psycho games. Because I think you got all the Strikers and Gunbird and what have you. They're like Gunbird 1, Strikers 1. They got like a second generation, which is like Gunbird 2 and Strikers 2, where they beefed it up a little bit. And then you've got Strikers 3 and Dragon Blaze, where it's almost like cave-like. It's more like
I gotta try that out.
Yeah, it's more bullet hellish. Dragon Blaze is more cave than Strikers is because it's got loads of slow moving bullets on it as well.
Wow, you got to try that out.
Yeah, and they're pink as well. They're pink bullets. But yeah, Dragon Blaze is good because you like cave games. It's very cave-like. It's got lots of like slow bullets, but it's also got the fast, ridiculous. You've got to know how many times to tap cycle patterns as well. But yeah, that I reckon that's.
I think those patterns are fun too. I just wish, especially with Gunbird, I just wish the hitboxes were a little smaller. But I think there is something to be said about, you mentioned you like, okay, I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly, Mushihime-sama. Yeah. And I feel like of all the cave games, that's the one that feels more like a Psycho game because there's a lot of fast bullet patterns in that game flying at you compared to like Dodonpachi.
Yeah, I think that's why I did the original because it is a lot of fast patterns, isn't it? Like you gotta wait for the tab and then because original is pretty much like a Psycho 1 steroids, I guess, isn't it? Whereas like Maniac is more your traditional cave game, isn't it? With more slow moving dense bullets. Yeah,
because I remember the last month I was like taking a little bit of a break from playing DOJ. Just a little bit of a break, but I'm gonna play another cave game. Oh, I'll play Mushihime-sama. And when I was playing, I was like, this game is surprisingly fast as far as the bullet patterns and everything, especially coming from DOJ to playing that. I was like, holy shit, these bullets are flying at me.
I know. Yeah, it is. It's weird because it's not like easy mode. It is easier than Maniac. But yeah, it's almost like a different style of bullet patterns, isn't it? But I did that quite quick, that one, because I did that off the back of Strikers 2, so I had all that.
Yeah, I bet that was a refreshing change from going from such a brutal difficulty to that. At least for a little bit.
Yeah, go from Dio to that. It's different, isn't it? I think you can't stop playing that for too long because won't you? Because are you learning to chain all the stages as well, or just to the 1cc?
I'm going for the 1cc of the first loop. It's the most noob goal, but the base difficulty of that game is so hard that it's still a battle.
Yeah.
But one strategy I've been doing is I've been trying to tank up as many lives as possible for the later stages. So I'm starting to do some chaining and comboing in the first 2 stages, strictly for lives, so I can try and survive the later stages.
Oh, that's a mammoth game to tackle, though, isn't it? You got like know where all the wasps are, chain, where the big enemies are, the popcorn enemies to carry on the chain till you get to another big enemy. Oh, there's so many variables at hand, aren't there?
Plus, especially the last 2 stages, I'd say the 3rd stage too, you have to know, even just playing for survival, you have to have an understanding of each kind of section, because you can really easily get yourself in situations where there's no escape. If you're not playing really carefully and preparing your route, there's just parts where you get pushed into a corner and there's an unpenetrable wave of bullets coming at you.
Not meant to be on that side of the screen at that time, Yeah, because I remember I was listening to STG Weekly on the Ketsui episode, and the guy on there who did the Ura loop, the second, both loops of Ketsui, and he was saying like level 5 of that is just super ridiculous. Like you gotta find a route and rigidly stick to it. Because if you go off it slightly, you're dead because you just don't know where you gotta be at a certain time. It just calls you. It's so strict, apparently.
Yeah, sorry, man, you were cutting out a little bit.
That's all right. I'll move back a bit in the van. Yeah, there you go. But it's super rigid, isn't it? That's the thing. You can't stop playing that for too long, otherwise you forget little tiny nuances, and you're back to square one, aren't you? Where are you at the moment? What stage are you on?
Stage 5, baby, the last one.
Oh, is it long? The last stage?
Yes.
Yeah.
It actually contains a boss rush of all the Dodonpachi bosses, but they're not nearly as hard. But they're still. Actually, the funny thing is, that's the easiest part of the stage. Stage 5, they just throw the kitchen sink at you. It's like just relentless the entire time.
Yeah, it sounds too stressful. It's like that video of that guy doing the boss doing the hard mode. What did he do? Death mode or something?
Death label?
Oh, was it where he's playing on the PS2, isn't he? And he's got the that Eureka sign in the corner. Yeah,
Death label.
That looks stressful, but he looked pretty happy when he did that.
Oh yeah, I actually have the PS2. Well, I played the PS2 version every now and again. Yeah. And when you go into Death Label, there's a warning that appears on screen.
Is it?
That's basically like, listen, you're gonna die. This is insane. Are you sure you want to continue? Then you have to say yes.
Mad. It's amazing how they complete those games in the arcade with like just purely on the arcades with no like
Oh, I know.
external practice.
I think about that, and if I had to play this game just strictly in an arcade setting where every time I needed to work on something, I'd have to replay, I could see it's possible, but man, you would sink a lot of time into it.
Unless you had a really good memory, or
Because let's say
you film the screen.
Yeah, because let's say, or even if you want to try different things out though, like let's say there's a really tricky bullet pattern of the third boss that kills you a lot.
Yeah.
You'd literally have to play through the first 2 stages, get to that boss, and get to that bullet pattern again, just to try out a few different things.
I know,
that would
it's a
take
crazy amount of
forever.
time, isn't it? But I suppose then as well, though, you can sort of do like theoretical dodges by watching someone else play it while you wait for your go.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess in an arcade too, there'd be, maybe you'd have a network of players, and they could all sit down together and be like, listen, in this third, wave, what you need to do is you need to get into this corner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess there's real world ways around it. But
And almost looking at bullet patterns when you're not controlling it, you can almost see things that you wouldn't see normally if you just like what if you.
That's very
Yeah,
true.
so you can like almost have a go by not having a go. You know what I mean? But yeah, purely with the PCB, that'd be super harsh, I think.
Yeah. It's funny, I was talking to Plasmo in the Discord, and we were talking about super plays and stuff, and I was mentioning when you watch like these really talented players doing their super plays, they make it look so easy. You're sitting there and you're watching it, because I've been struggling with DOJ for months, and then I watch a super play of it, I'm like, why is this game doesn't even look hard?
And they're like super creative with their strategies, and it's like I never would have thought of that.
Some of the stuff I pick up on, I know some people, when they want to learn a game, they'll actually really break down and analyze someone else's replay and, try to emulate it. Personally, I could see why that's really efficient, but I like to be a little more creative with my own routes and stuff, even though they're not that good.
That's what I do. If I like want to approach a game, you'll have a look at a replay, see what's possible on it, but then do your own take on it. I don't like, it doesn't feel right just like copying it, carbon copying someone else's play.
Yeah.
You want to put your own like little spin on it, don't you?
I think when you're playing for survival, there's no need. I guess when you're playing for like high level scores, there comes a point where you have to basically find the optimal way to play. But at my level, that's not necessary whatsoever.
I know. I chip away at it basically, haven't you? But I think those Japanese players, they don't just get it overnight. I don't think, because there's an interview with Clovertac where he was saying like when a new game comes out, he practices it for like 8 hours a day.
Holy
shit.
it's
like 8 hours a day or 80 credits a day, something ridiculous. It's some insane amount of time he plays it. And my friend before, he was in Japan, and he was you can pay. This is one arcade. You can pay to have a go on the arcade. You can pay for that machine for the hour. And this one guy was playing. I don't know what game it was. It was a cave game, and he kept resetting the first level. He did the first level, reset it, and he just did the first level over and over for an hour, just resetting it all the time, just so he could find out every little thing on that level. But I can't imagine playing a game like that, like 8 hours a day, just to get an arcade as a top score.
Yeah, I do know now though, when I sit down and practice, I mean, I can sink a lot of time into it without even realizing it, just because it's so fun. For instance, the other day I practiced the final boss probably for 3 hours without even realizing it. Then I'm like, holy shit, I've been here 3 hours fighting the final boss.
Yeah, I remember reading what's his name? What's that guy from the French player who wrote that little Prometheus? Yeah, I remember he was saying that. He used to practice for hours and hours just on certain sections, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you read that guide?
I have, yeah.
The full extent of the gem?
Yeah. I have read that, yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I read it before I even started playing shmups that seriously. I don't know how I came across it, but I was like, wow, this is really good. This is really insightful.
Yeah, it tells you little things like, say, when there's like a fast bullet pattern or like a dense pattern, go up the screen a little bit and go down with it, so it almost like slows the pattern down, and dodge diagonally as you're dodging down. Little weird things like that.
Yeah.
That's quite clever. But he's an amazing player, that guy. He's done both loops of Dio Geo, hasn't he, I think?
Yeah, I've watched all his special demonstrations.
He plays on keyboard, doesn't he? He uses the keys.
Yeah.
Which is...
I know. That's pretty awesome.
But I think he's used the keyboard joystick as well, because I think he went to Japan and he did it on the joystick as well, so that's crazy. But yeah,
that's impressive to use both. I've been trying to learn to play on the keyboard, just so I'm thinking maybe someday I could sneak in some games at my job and play on the keyboard.
Or just play on a laptop in bed or something, can you?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's awesome for coming on the show. Is there anything else you want to talk about before you go?
No, I think I covered it all, actually. It's near bedtime over here, actually.
Well, I'll let you get to sleep. Thanks for being on the show.
I'll go wait for a headache coming on there. My hangover's kicking in, I think. But yeah.
Uh-oh.
No worries yet.
Get some water and get to sleep, dude.
Thanks for having me on. It's been fun, reminiscing and what have you.